On Thursdays, after the last oil change and the final clang of the shop door, Samir washed the grease from his hands and wondered whether the world would ever see him the way his daughter did. To Lila, he was a hero who could fix anything. To most others, he was just the quiet mechanic on the edge of town, the one with permanent smudges on his sleeves and a faded wedding band he still kept in his toolbox long after his wife passed. The blind date had not been his idea. His sister had insisted. "She's nice," she promised. "A teacher. Loves kids." So Samir ironed his only good shirt and left Lila with their neighbor. He tried to ignore the flutter in his chest as he stepped into the restaurant. The woman across the table barely looked at him. Her gaze flicked to his hands, the calluses, the faint oil stains that never fully faded. "So," she said, stirring her drink, "you're a mechanic." "Yes," he replied, smiling politely. "I own the shop." "That must keep you busy." Her tone carried a thin smile that did not reach her eyes. "I guess it's practical." Practical. He had heard that word before. He spoke about Lila, about how she loved astronomy and insisted the moon followed their car at night. He spoke about rebuilding an old truck from scrap. But the conversation felt like pushing a car uphill with the brakes on. At the end of the meal, she stood first. "You seem kind," she said gently, almost apologetically. "But I think I'm looking for someone with different ambitions." Samir nodded. He paid the bill and walked out into the cool evening air, telling himself it did not matter. He had Lila. He had his work. He did not need anyone's approval. "Excuse me." The voice came from behind him. He turned to see a woman standing near a sleek black car. She wore a simple coat, but the cut of it spoke of money. Her eyes were sharp, observant. "I hope you don't mind," she said. "I couldn't help overhearing part of your conversation." He stiffened slightly. "I'm sorry if we disturbed you." "You didn't." She stepped closer. "You spoke about your daughter like she's your entire world." "She is." A slow smile touched her lips. "Can you be my husband?" For a moment, Samir wondered if the rejection had hit him harder than he thought. "I'm sorry?" "I'm serious," she replied. "My name is Zara Rahman." The name landed with quiet weight. Zara Rahman was known across the city. Founder of a tech empire. Young billionaire. Frequently photographed at charity galas, rarely seen in ordinary places. He stared at her. "I think you have the wrong person." "I don't," she said calmly. "I need someone honest. Someone grounded. My board is trying to force a merger through a marriage. They believe I need a husband with influence. I want someone with character." "And you think that's me?" His voice carried disbelief. "I watched you tonight. You were respectful even when she dismissed you. You talked about your daughter with pride, not as a burden. That tells me more than any resume." Samir folded his arms. "You don't know me." "Then let me," she said. "Have coffee with me tomorrow. No contracts. Just conversation." Against his better judgment, he agreed. The next day, they met in a quiet cafe. Without the restaurant's harsh lighting and awkwardness, Zara seemed less intimidating. She spoke about building her company from a borrowed laptop and sleepless nights. About investors who underestimated her. About the loneliness that success carved into her life. "My parents died when I was 20, she admitted softly. "I learned quickly that people stay when you're useful to them." Samir understood that kind of loneliness. "After my wife passed, people visited for a few weeks. Then life moved on. Grief doesn't." She met his gaze. "I don't want a decorative husband. I want a partner. Someone who won't be impressed or intimidated." "And what would I get out of this?" he asked honestly. "Security for your daughter. The best schools. Opportunities. And," she paused, "a chance to build something real, if we both choose it." He went home that evening with his thoughts tangled. Lila was drawing at the kitchen table. Daddy, she said, holding up her picture, this is you fixing a rocket. He smiled. Does it work? In my story, it does. He sat beside her, heart heavy. Was he fixing a rocket now, or stepping into one without knowing where it would land? Over the next weeks, he and Zara met often. No lawyers. No announcements. They talked about everything from business ethics to bedtime stories. She visited his garage once, standing among the scent of metal and oil. You built this yourself? She asked. Every shelf, he said. Every mistake, too. She ran her fingers along a workbench. It feels honest. One evening, she joined him and Lila for dinner. Lila studied her carefully. Are you rich? Lila asked bluntly. Zara laughed, surprised. Yes. Do you know about stars? A little. Lila considered this. Okay. You can stay. Something warm flickered in Zara's eyes. The proposal came quietly, without spectacle. They were sitting on the roof of Samir's modest house, watching the city lights. This isn't about proving anything anymore, Zara said. I don't need to marry for the board. I've already refused them. Then why ask me, he said. Because I don't want to eat dinner alone anymore. Because when you talk, you mean what you say. Because your daughter trusts me. And because I love you. The word hung between them, fragile and powerful. I'm not your world, he said softly. I won't give up my garage. I won't become someone polished for your events. I don't want polished, she replied. I want real. He thought of the blind date. Of the word practical. Of every time he felt small under someone's judgment. Then yes, he said. But we do this our way. Their wedding was small. No magazine covers. Just a garden, a handful of friends, and Lila holding the rings. The headlines still buzzed for weeks about the billionaire who married a mechanic. Commentators speculated about motives. But in the evenings, none of that mattered. Zara would sit at the kitchen table while Samir reviewed invoices from the garage. Lila would chatter about constellations. The house filled with the kind of wealth no balance sheet could measure. Months later, Zara confessed something. That night at the restaurant, she said, I wasn't there by accident. I've had my car serviced at your shop for 2 years. You once fixed it for free when I forgot my wallet. You told me to pay next time. He blinked. I didn't recognize you. You didn't look at me like I was important. Just like I was a customer. She took his hand. That's when I knew. Samir laughed softly, shaking his head at the strange turns of fate. A rejection had felt like an ending. Instead, it had been a door. Sometimes life did not reward ambition or status. Sometimes it rewarded steady hands, honest work, and a heart that refused to harden. And in a small house filled with stargazing dreams and the scent of motor oil, a mechanic discovered that being seen for who you truly are was worth more than any fortune.